What we are seeing on the streets of Berkeley, I think, is symptomatic of the divisions that we see happening in our country, where people believe it's okay to use violence to confront each other.
I can do what I want. I don't give a shit. What are you gonna do about it?
We will continue to come into Berkeley until they finally respect free speech.
Well, this isn't about free speech, right? No Trump! No KKK! No fascism! And that's completely been misused and deliberately, cynically used by the right wing to hide and change the subject of their real agenda.
One bill! Every day!
There is no uprising of anti-Semitism or white nationalism in this country.
These guys aren't afraid anymore. And you know what? I'm not afraid either.
Man, if that doesn't freak you out, I don't know what would.
Why are we stepping on a flag that we have no idea about? What the fuck are we doing?
I'm Mike Wendling. I'm with BBC Trending, and I came to Berkeley, near San Francisco in Northern California. Here is the birthplace of the hippies and the free speech movement. It's the heartland of liberal America. But ever since Donald Trump's victory, Berkeley has become a center of far-right demonstrations and far-left counter-protests. And scenes in Berkeley are being replicated across America.
One of the so-called free speech protests.
An explosion of violence sparked after a planned protest.
The rise of Donald Trump also boosted the profile of the alt-right, a loose-knit group which includes white nationalists, anti-feminists, internet culture warriors, and people who hate political correctness. And in response to the rise of the alt-right, an opposing force was reborn, anti-fascists, or for short, Antifa. Both sides have been playing cat-and-mouse games online, spreading propaganda, misinformation, and doxing, exposing personal information about people on the other side, even calling their employers.
We have to call the school. You got to call over and over and over again. You cannot stop.
And now the online culture wars are spilling out onto the streets. Clashes in Charlottesville injured dozens and ended in the killing of a left-wing counter-protester, Heather Heyer.
You had a group on one side that was bad, and you had a group on the other side that was also very violent. And nobody wants to say that, but I'll say it right now.
No Antifa! No KKK, no fascism!
But is Donald Trump right? Are there two equal and opposing extremist forces in this battle? I came to Berkeley after hearing there might be violent clashes between the two sides during Free Speech Week, a far-right event featuring provocateur Milo Yiannopoulos.
We will continue to come into Berkeley until they finally respect free speech. We will never stop, never in a million years.
USA! USA! USA!
The far right is marching to demand free speech, their right to say whatever they want, wherever they want.
Why don't these guys let us talk?
But the far left has also come to town to try to shut them down.
Why don't these guys let us talk?
No KKK, no fascist USA! We're definitely concerned about the growth of fascism. We take fascism and the growth of fascism very seriously. It has already cost lives here in this country, but not just here. All across Britain, all across Europe.
Yvette Falarka is one of the most prominent Antifa members in America. She's been arrested multiple times during clashes with the far right, and she faces charges of assault and riot. Her group is called By Any Means Necessary, and they're not joking.
We know that whether or not some of these right-wingers identify consciously as Nazis or not, that the whole spectrum of the alt-right is then trying to embolden and strengthen the possibility of a fascist movement taking power in this country.
Now it is dissident, mischievous, punk rock, young libertarians and conservatives who are being called racist, sexist bigots by the left for being quite fond of Donald Trump or just for being Republican. And they're the ones who feel, and I think with some justification, that the organs of civil society are arrayed against them, that the academy, that the media and the entertainment industry hate their guts, want to see them wiped from the face of the earth, limit their speech, police their behavior, tell them what clothes it's okay to wear, tell them how they're allowed to speak, what language, what subjects are allowed to discuss, and I think they have a point.
And no, we don't call Trump a fascist, and I want to be clear, we don't just call anyone a fascist who's a big racist. But some of his most vociferous supporters and strongest supporters and his real hardcore base, some of them are identified fascists and many of them share absolutely white supremacist ideology and are starting to violently attack people. You know, myself and almost a dozen of us in Sacramento were stabbed by neo-Nazis on the steps of the state capitol here in California. We did not think and know that that was going to happen.
You yourself were stabbed.
I was stabbed in the arm. I was stabbed in the arm and bashed in the head. And so that was a wake-up call.
In Berkeley, Milo Yiannopoulos only appeared briefly behind the police barriers. His 20-minute publicity stunt was streamed live on Facebook and other platforms, except for Twitter, where he's permanently banned. Yiannopoulos and the other speakers claim they're not extremists, but there is a huge contingent of the far right out in Berkeley.
Oh, I love God, by the way, but Pepe's okay with me.
Many of the protesters have come prepared.
If the cops can't get there and something happens and I need to arrest somebody, I can citizens arrest them. Yeah, I've citizens arrest many people before.
Woo! Berkeley free speech, baby!
We learned that some of the people in Berkeley had also marched with the neo-Nazis in Charlottesville in August. And there were others there who were treated almost as cult leaders because of their use of violence. In self-defense, they claim.
I showed up there so I could protect my brothers and sisters, my right-wing brothers and sisters, men and women, just like you, because I knew what you were about to face that day.
Kyle Chapman became internet famous when he was shown brandishing a stick at Antifa protesters. That earned him the nickname Based Stickman and an upcoming trial on weapons charges.
And I think there very clearly is a war against white people. This war is being waged by academia, by the media, and primarily by politicians, and in general by leftists.
What's that? You the one backing up?
Violence is an issue of the left. Even if you go into the prison systems and you see out of the murderers, the rapists, and the robbers, how many of those people are Democrats? The vast majority of them are. Violence is a leftist issue. Right-wingers are God-fearing, law-abiding, hard-working people.
Well, what flag is this?
That's a flag of the Soviet Union.
No jihad in America.
That's not. What is it? Hamas? Oh, that's a Hamas flag? We got a terrorist flag, yeah.
Here you go, Mohammed.
Shame be upon him.
This is the left-wing response, a rally on the Berkeley campus. I followed a black-clad Antifa group as they tried to occupy a campus building. The police marched in and cleared the students out, but later, off campus, scuffles broke out and arrests were made.
They've just arrested the leader of one of the anti-fascist groups, Yvette Falarka.
Over 4 days, there were at least 15 arrests in total.
I can see it working, guys. We're going to break the bank. If you guys understood what's going on with these guys, they have to pay tons and tons of money every time we have a conservative event out here in Berkeley, and it's starting to hit them.
We're extremely worried about what we've seen here on this campus, in this city, and across this country, whereby extreme individuals and organizations from across the political spectrum have shown that they are completely ready, willing, and able to engage in violence, to either support their political friends or oppose their political foes, and are willing to turn college campuses into literal battlegrounds. Man, if that doesn't freak you out, I don't know what would.
Protests and counter-protests are costing the authorities huge sums of money.
I've been clear that I don't think the university should allow right-wing provocateurs to come to campus simply to boost their profile, causing enormous concern and conflict in our city. Undocumented residents, other underrepresented communities feel threatened, feel scared. It costs an enormous amount of money to our police departments to police those events. It creates enormous disruption for our businesses. So you have to ask at what point do we continue to allow this to happen? I think we're at that point now.
Tell me to leave. Ain't nobody gonna tell me to leave. I ain't getting out of here.
Other liberal universities and cities around the country have also become hotspots for fights between the right and the left. One of them is Portland, Oregon, where an extremist killed 2 men in May. We arranged a meeting with an Antifa group there. We met at night. They were anxious about revealing their location, and some of them didn't want us to reveal their identities.
How you doing? Fine, how about yourself? Luis. Nice to meet you.
How many of you guys, if you care to say, have been arrested? Well, what kinds of charges have you been arrested on?
The heinous crime of disorderly conduct in the second degree.
Interfering with public transportation.
Disorderly conduct, failure to obey an officer.
After Luis Marquez was arrested, his details were released online by police. The far right took advantage.
They put my daughter's information out there, how old she was, her social security number, that of her mother's, and her mother's address, I believe, her old address.
And you left home for a month because of that?
Here, yeah, they knew where I lived. They know where I live. They drive by my house a couple times a week.
I mean, this sounds...
We'll be out having a smoke and they'll drive by, slow down, give us a stare, speed back up again.
Right, yeah.
No, they make it known that they know.
These guys aren't afraid anymore. And you know what? I'm not afraid either.
Basically what we do is we hold actions to try and hold people locally that are in power accountable. We're trying to build a city and a movement that really insulates us from the policies of Donald Trump, not with like borders and walls, but with policies of our own.
But do you guys, are you prepared to use violence?
Yeah, we're going to defend ourselves and we're going to defend our community. It's not even self-defense, it's community defense. I think that all of us believe that we are kind of living in historic times and we want to make sure that we are the good guys in the history book that are standing on the sides of marginalized and oppressed people.
How does it play out from here? Do things get worse?
Yep.
Before they get better?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, personally myself, I think more of my comrades will get hurt. More of my comrades will die. That's what I think.
Where we're at right now is like not sustainable. So, and we're not quitting. We can't quit because like this is literally our lives. So, like we're fighting for our lives.
There will be more clashes in the coming months. The far right will continue to try to march on university campuses. The left will hold marches of their own. Rumors, claims, and counterclaims continue to fly online. Antifa organizers say their marches will be peaceful. If the alt-right shows up, don't bet on it.